Okay, here's our first tool, the ruler we made. Then our second tool we're going to make is a protractor. This tool has actually been around for thousands of years. It's kind of the foundation for making anything, designing anything, and also for navigation. It's kind of the key tool as well. This is a semicircle protractor, and it's used for measuring angles. There's really two ways to measure angles. One is in degrees. The standard is a full rotation is 360 degrees. So you usually start here, go all the way around and end at 360 degrees. Little circle above it is a notation for degrees. The other way to measure is in radians, but we won't talk about those right now. Okay, so we have full rotation at 360 degrees. Half circle is 180 degrees. Quarter circle 90. So 90, 180, and then three-quarter circle 270. A lot of theories on why 360 degrees. One is at 12 months times 30 days works out to be 360. And 360 is easily divisible by 2, 4, 6. You could go quarters. Quarters would be 90. Eighth would be 45 degrees, pretty common. Thirds, 60 degrees. So it's an easy number to work with, 360. So here's 30, 45, 60, 90. Okay, the protractor we're going to make is a semicircle, so it's only going to be 180 degrees. Let me just trace it here and show you all the markings on it. So the standard markings are right here at 90 degrees. Cut that in half is 45 is a common one. 45, 90, this is 135. And then this is 0 and 180 degrees right there. And then in between I have 10 degree increments. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Then actually I use my drawing from my ruler to get the bottom. So this is 0, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch. Two things you could do with the protractor that I'll show you here is given an angle, you can measure that angle using your protractor. You set the vertex of the angle right to the center point there. You bring this down flush and you see the angle is 10, 20, maybe less than halfway between 20 and 30. So I call that a 24 degree angle. So you could measure given angles with your protractor. The second thing you could do is you could create given angles. So if you want to create a 45 degree angle, you draw a straight line. You mark your vertex on there. You set the center of your protractor there. Bring this down flush. I want to create a 45 degree angle. I mark it there at my 45. I connect these 2 points. And that's how I create a 45 degree angle. Very accurate within a few degrees. Okay, here we are working on the protractor. First thing I did was make a copy of my ruler, and then I retitled that file protractor. Then I opened it up in Mastercam, and then here's my ruler, and I'm going to turn this into my protractor. So the first thing I want to do is I only want it to be 6 inches long. So I'm going to zoom in here, and then I'm going to delete everything to the right. I want to trim this line down to here, trim this line down to here. Zoom out again. Oops. Select all this, delete that half of the ruler. The other thing I'm going to do too is I'm actually going to delete the numbers because there's really not quite enough room on the protractor to have the numbers in there. So I delete all the numbers as well. So here's my 6 inch ruler. Then I'm going to go X form, rotate, and I want to rotate this ruler 180 degrees. So I'm going to rotate 180 degrees and I'm going to move it. There I am at fit screen. And then the next thing I want to do is move it back to the origin. So I go X form, move to origin, and I snap on the lower left corner, clear colors, fit screen. So there's my ruler. Then I'm going to create the protractor by creating a semicircle, starting at the center point, snap right there. The diameter is 6 inches, so I'm going to set it at 6. And it's going to be my protractor. I want to trim these lines back to there, trim that line back to there. So I'm going to delete that line, and I want to trim this line back to there. There's my general shape of the protractor. I'm going to make it 3/4 of an inch wide. So I'm going to go X form, offset contour. I'll do it as a chain, went all the way around. And I'm going to offset it 3/4 of an inch. And I want to offset it inwards. So there's my protractor there. And then from there, what I want to do is create my markings for my angles. So the standards are 90, 45, and 135, and then 10-degree increments all the way around. So I'm going to create a line from an endpoint. I'm going to snap right at the center. I'm going to go up this way. That line is going to be 3 inches long at an angle of 45 degrees, 135 degrees. And those are my 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 4/4. So those are quarters of a semicircle. So I'm going to trim these lines back to here. And then my 10-degree marks, I only want them to go a 1/4 inch long. So I'm going to go X form, offset contour. I don't want to do a chain, just a single line. I'm going to offset this. And I want to offset it a 1/4 inch. And I want to offset a 1/4 inch in. So I'm going to trim my marks down there. So now I'm still at create lines from an endpoint. I'm going to go here. I want to go 3 inches at an angle of 10 degrees. I'll do those all the way around. 20 degrees. Okay, I'm all done drawing all those 10-degree increments. And now I'm trimming them down. So I trim these off. I'm going to trim this down to there. I don't want to trim the 45 one, so I'm going to leave that one. Now what I do here is, what I'm going to do in my class is I'm actually going to laser engrave this, but I get much better results if I create it in Mastercam first. So I save this as a DXF, and then in Corel Draw I open up that DXF and turn it into blue hairline lines, which are vectors. So the engrave is all done with vectors, so it's very accurate. And then I laser engrave a rectangular piece of wood. After I'm done rectangular engraving it, then I CNC router it. So I'm actually going to do this in 2 tool paths because I want to make sure the center part goes first. So I tool path as a contour, the inside piece. I'm going clockwise, it goes all the way around. So I'm going to use a 1/4 inch flat end mill, 60/30 here. Set these all at absolute, and I'm using 1/4 inch MDF. So there's my tool path. That's cutting on the inside. So again, laser engrave it, or you could use a V cutter and engrave it, do a bit change, and then cut it out with a 1/4 inch flat end mill. Don't forget, order of operations is really important to keep things accurate. So if you're going to laser engrave that, do that first so you can set your bit exactly where it needs to be. If you're going to use a V cutter to do your cuts on here on the CNC router, make sure you do those before you do the cutouts. Verify, isometric, there's a cutout. Corel Draw, save my Mastercam file as a DXF, and then went File, Import, and then I brought it in as a DXF. And then once I have it as a DXF right here, it's a vector, so it's very accurate. Then I go File, Print, and I send it to the VLS 2.3 and hit print. That brings it over to the laser engraver software. From here I go to my settings. I want to make sure I use a natural thing like wood, and I set my material thickness there at how thick it is, in this case a 1/4 inch. Then I hit print, and then it runs. So let's go out and take a look in the laser engraver. Here it is in the laser engraver. See it there. So I laser engrave before I CNC. There it is. I have to laser engrave first because that's how I set my bit on the CNC. So there's my laser engraved board. I fixture it with both double side tape and I screw it down. So let's go ahead and run it.